Oh, hello there. You been there the whole time? Are you sitting down, standing up? You want to learn about while loops and counters inside a while loop? Well, if you're in CS111, you're in the right place. Go to page 355 and you'll have a project called You Do It, and we'll name it You Do It. And then what we're going to have is we're going to have a click event procedure, and inside that click event procedure, we're going to be entering sales entries. And the sales entries, when we hit click to send, it's going to send to 3 boxes, LBL boxes, right here. And the number 1 box will be number of prices entered. That'll be our counter. The total number of prices. And in the 3rd box, we'll have the average price entered. And this is our while loop and our counter inside our while loop. And then as a little bonus, we're going to have a text list, and inside the text list, we're going to have every single entry price entered, so you can go back and look what you've entered so far. Yeah.
Okay, so here is our flowchart for the example on page 355, including the while loop and the counter, also the text list. So a little background on flowcharts. The oval symbol represents start and stop. The rectangle symbol represents processes, and the diamond symbol represents all major decisions. So for our flowchart, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to declare prompt as a string, and you're going to declare it as enter a sales price. You're going to declare title as a string, sales entry. Your next step is going to be to declare the input as a string. You're going to declare sales input, total prices, and average prices as decimals. And you're going to declare the counter as an integer equal to 0. The next step is going to be to initiate an input box using the string prompt and the string title that you had declared earlier. And of course, the next step is going to be the actual while loop, and it's going to basically be while the input is not empty. You're going to have your true path and your false path. So basically, in the next segment, we're going to be explaining the true and the false paths for this. Okay, so in this part of the flowchart, we're going to be introducing the parallelogram, and the parallelogram is basically just to display things. So for the while loop's true path, the first thing you're going to do is store the string input into the decimal sales input. And for those of you who don't know how to do that, you're going to be using the tryParse method. Then next step is going to be to display the sales amount in the text list. Your next step is going to be to actually calculate the counter, total price, and average price. And your next step is going to be basically where you would get the user input. So this is to read the counter, total price, and average price, and you want to make sure that you format all the numbers with a $sign with 2 decimal places so it can look nice. And your next step is to initiate an update read using the input box, and this is just so that the loop won't go on forever, it'll stop somewhere. And as for the false path, that'll be as long as the input is empty, you're going to display the word none in all of the fields.
Alright, here's our form design, number of prices with an LBL counter. There's another label, LBL total prices. Their label, LBL average. And these are just labels with the given name for the labels. And this is our text list, which we'll be using for that will show our data in the window, and you can scroll up and down. And then next we'll have our click to enter prices. That's where we'll enter our data from, and then it'll show and correspond into our 3 fields shown above. And our text box, you can scroll up and down to see all the sales prices entered, and while you are keeping track of all 3 labels. And then we have our BTN. We labeled click to enter prices, but the BTN is BTN enter price for our code. And then we're going to show you what's going to look like whenever you click to enter price. And then we'll show you when you click the button, the sales entry window will pop up and it'll say enter price, and you can hit OK or cancel, put in a number, and it'll pop up, start populating in the field and keep track of all our numbers and variables. Alright, our first thing is to make our input box, and our constant is going to be prompt as string equals to enter a price for our display to the user to tell him to enter a number for the price. And the other constant is going to be the title, and as string equals sales entry for the title of the window. And then your declarations are going to be dim input as string, dim sales out input as decimal, dim counter as integer equals 0 because you need to start off at about a point, dim total price as decimal, and dim average as decimal. And then we're going to use this for to fill in our prompt title box, and the value is going to equal to 0. And then this is going to be our while loop coming up. And so do while input greater than or equal than String.Empty, and this is a little note saying loop as long as the user enters the sales amount. So as long as they keep entering an amount, it's going to keep populating the fields. And this is going to convert the number into an input, put the input into a number, the Decimal.TryParse input and sales input, and the TryParse is going to block any other number that you're going to put in there and tell you to put a correct integer. And this will display the sales amount in the text box, and the txtList.Text will equal the txtList.Text and the sales input.ToString C2 currency 2 spaces over the decimal and vbNewLine, so that it goes down instead of sideways, so you can read the text list up and down, just scroll up and down. Our calculation will have our counter equals to counter plus 1 each time we enter a number into the field. The lblNumberOfPrices.Text equals counter.ToString. That just keeps track of the counter for us. And then the lblCounter.Text equals Convert.ToString counter, converting the counter to letters. And then we have our total prices equal the total prices plus sales input. So everything that we've put into the sales input earlier. And then our lblTotalPrices.Text equals totalprices.ToString, converting it to a letter, and then we are going to get the currency form from it and 2 decimal spaces over. So if we enter $12, it'll be 12.00. Next is our average calculator. This is our if statement, and the counter is greater than 0. Then the average equals total prices divided by counter. And this will give us the lblAverage.Text, and that equals to the average.ToString, converting it to a letter, and again getting the decimal place 2 over in our currency form. And then our else would be the lblCounter.Text equals none, lblTotalPrices.Text equals none, lblAverage.Text equals none, and that's the end of our if statement. And then lastly, this will be getting our next user input, otherwise known as update the reader to stop the loop. So the input will equal InputBox, the prompt and title to 0. And then that'll be the end of our loop. And that'll give us our program. This is going to get the next input that you're going to put in after you hit the enter button. The input equals InputBox, the prompt, and then the title, and then it'll reset the value to 0 and then ask you for your next number. And this is our loop. The code for all of this will be in the info box, so if you wanted to copy or look at our code, you can check it out. And thank you very much.